So yesterday I was thinking about context, and yesterday I was working with a group of political candidates. I can't name the party, it's one of the UK political parties. And these are people who want to be politicians. And when they come into the room, they do their 2-minute speech. Well, first of all, we get to know each other. And I'm reading, who are you? What comes out in your values? How do you show up? How are you relating to other people? How are you listening? And then they do their speech. And in terms of alignment, I'm looking for the person who was talking, in the room when they came in to show up in the speech. And a lot of what blocks people's gravitas is that they pick up a piece of paper, they put on a mask, not literally, but they hide away because they're speaking, and that's a different thing. And suddenly the person that you've been talking to isn't there anymore. And for me, gravitas is a lot about really tuning into our values and tuning into what matters to us, and then making it about a common purpose, because I think gravitas without common purpose is just charisma. And one of the big barriers to all of that is that people get stuck in their heads. And it ties back to this little girl who didn't trust that she could move. So many people have no ability to embody themselves as speakers. So it becomes I can't really use the word ego because that's your field, but it becomes a kind of logical, fixed, stuck delivery, when actually my belief is that the best speakers are always the most relaxed. The person who would be good with horses, right, easy, relaxed, present, is going to make a good speaker. So when we align to ourselves and we have physical alignment, and when we also have a sense of our power to serve an audience, to serve a room, then I think it's a very humble presence. I don't think gravitas is about ego or arrogance. I think it's about quite a quiet, humble presence to others because you're serving. And yeah, agency and alignment are deeply wrapped into that in so many ways.
What do you think that they're afraid of, that they hide their real self, behind a prepared speech, talking points? What is their fear underneath about just speaking from inside as opposed to hiding what's inside?
I mean, it was fascinating watching this group yesterday because they were all, they'd been special advisors. This is an expert group of very intelligent people. And I don't know if it's a fear as much as a training, that we're trained that words have to be perfect and perfect paragraphs and everything is controlled. And I think the fear is letting go of control. It's like being with a horse, right? You get on a horse, you really have no idea what's going to happen. Life performance is a bit the same. But if you get on the horse and read a manual, you guarantee you're going to fall off because you're not going to be present. And one of the guys came in yesterday and started their speech, and the person who was the chair in the room said good evening. And he kicked off and said, good afternoon, everybody. And what that tells you is it was a beautiful speech that he was about to say, but there was no presence to the room. And for me, then it's about, okay, when you come in, what happens if you don't say anything for a moment? What happens if you really pay attention to the room, get curious about them, breathe the space? I mean, it sounds a bit thespian, but, just breathe the room. Then when she says good evening, you'll say good evening right back. And then you've got them. And that, for people who've, I studied English and I thought I was good with words. And when I got to drama school, they said, you're in your head, you've got no presence, you're not listening, you're not there on stage, you're not responding. And I just didn't know how to work with that because I'd never been asked to be embodied. No one had ever said that would be a good idea. And I didn't want to play hockey and I was terrible at gymnastics. So that's it then. But actually, they should have said, move, because it will help you be present.